Dear students, like and subscribe the channel. Your subscription is important for us. Only few students they have subscribed. You like and subscribe the channel or share with your friends. In next semester, you have to give seminar on this topic. On this channel, I will circulate one seminar list. You can select seminars from that list. Again, I will provide total report of that title. Okay, again I will support you regarding your projects also, but your subscription is important. This example is bottom up parsing. In bottom up parsing, LR0 items, NFA, DFA, SLR1 parsing table, then action parsing table. For the grammar, A produce, opening bracket, A closing bracket, or A. This is production, and string is opening bracket, A, closing bracket. You have to write action parsing table for the string. First, LR0 items. In bottom of parsing, A dash produce A and A produce opening bracket, A, closing bracket, or A. From this LR0 items, LR0 items for this, A dash produce dot A and A dash produce A dot. This is first production. Then A produce dot opening bracket, A, closing bracket. This is A produce dot opening bracket, A, closing bracket, and opening bracket dot A, closing bracket. Again A produce opening bracket, A dot closing bracket, A produce opening bracket, A, closing bracket, dot. This is transaction on opening bracket, transaction on A, transaction on opening bracket, transaction on A, and transaction on closing bracket. This is before transaction and this is after transaction. Next, A produce dot terminal A and A produce A dot. Then this is NFA for this. NFA for this, A dash produce dot A. This is initial state. First take transaction on A. Means A dash produce A dot. Transaction on A. After dot A is variable. If A is variable, all production of A is in epsilon. A produce dot opening bracket, A, closing bracket, or A produce dot A. These are the two transactions on A, and these two transactions on epsilon. This is first. Next, A dash, this is final state. Transaction on A. Transaction on A means A produce A dot. Transaction on A. After dot, here transaction on opening bracket. Transaction on opening bracket means A produce opening bracket dot A, closing bracket. Right? Transaction on opening bracket and transaction on A. First here, transaction on input symbol. Transaction on A means A produce opening bracket, A dot closing bracket. Transaction on A. After dot A is variable, then all production of A means 1 and 2. For this two production using epsilon. A produce dot opening bracket, A, closing bracket, or A produce dot A. Next, here this is transaction on closing bracket, means A produce opening bracket, A, closing bracket, dot. This is final state. This is called as NFA. NFA of LR0 atoms. Next, similarly, let's see DFA of LR0 atoms. DFA of LR0 atoms and DFA for this DFA A dash produce A and A produce opening bracket A closing bracket are A. DFA for this A dash produce dot A and all production of A dot opening bracket A closing bracket and A produce dot A. This is initial state. This is initial state. Then transaction on first A dash produce A dot 0. This is 1. Dear students, this numbering also important. First transaction on A, transaction on opening bracket, then transaction on terminal A. Transaction on opening bracket. Transaction on opening bracket means A produce opening bracket dot A closing bracket. After dot A is variable, then all production of A dot opening bracket A closing bracket and A produce dot A. This is state 2. Then state 3, transaction on A, transaction on opening bracket, transaction on terminal A. Means A produce A dot. This is third. Transaction on A. This is 1, 2, then 3. 1 is final state. From this 2, transaction on A. Transaction on A means A produce opening bracket A dot closing bracket. Transaction on A. Three, then this is 4. Transaction on A. Then transaction on opening bracket means we'll get this production. Transaction on opening bracket. Transaction on terminal A. This is transaction on terminal A. 2 is over, 3 is final state. Then check 4. Transaction on closing bracket. Transaction on closing bracket. A produce opening bracket A closing bracket dot. This is step 5. And this DFA are to represent using table format, that is called SLR on parsing table. In SLR on parsing table, first we have to find first and follow this. If you are having doubt in follow set, then find first set, then follow set, or direct you can write follow set. Follow of S dash. This side S dash is there? No. As follow of S dash is only dollar because S dash is starting symbol. Follow of yes. Follow of A dash and follow of A. Follow of A. Follow of A is closing bracket and follow of A is follow of A dash. Follow of A dash is dollar. Must follow of A is dollar and closing bracket. Right. Then you can write SLR on parsing table. SLR1 parsing table. First this is states, input, go to. Total number of inputs inputs within this opening bracket A, closing bracket, then dollar. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then go to only one variable is the A. Total number of states 0 to 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. First 0, from 0, this is state 0. On 0, from 0, on A 1. On A 1. On opening bracket, state 2. This is yes 2. On input symbol A, yes 3. Yes 3. This is final state. No. Next 1. 1 is final state. And follow up A dash is 1. Follow up A dash is dollar. Here you write accept. Next state 2. Transaction on A. Transaction on A 4. This is 2. Transaction on A. Transaction on capital A. Transaction on A 4. Transaction on opening bracket same. State 2. Transaction on terminal A. Yes 3. This is final state. No. Then 3 is final state. And transaction follow. This is final state. Follow up is dollar and closing bracket. Within dollar and closing bracket, this is 3. Within dollar and closing bracket, this is reduce A produce A. Reduce A produce A. State 3. State 4. From state 4 only one transition is there. To 5. On opening bracket, a closing bracket. This is yes 5. Shift 5. Next 5 is final state. And follow up is dollar and closing bracket. Dollar and closing bracket. And within this you can write reduce. Yes produce. A produce. Opening bracket A, closing bracket. Reduce A produce, opening bracket A, closing bracket. Then this is closing bracket. This is SLR1 parsing table. Next one more is action parsing table for this. Action parsing table for this is string is this one, opening bracket A, closing bracket. For this action parsing table, input string, then action. Here serial number. Within this first, this is empty. Input string, opening bracket A, closing bracket dollar. First shift into the stack. Shift into the stack. Dollar, opening bracket. Then opening bracket A to closing bracket dollar. Again shift into the stack. This is third. 2 opening bracket A closing bracket dollar. Again shift into the stack. Thus first step dollar closing bracket opening bracket or opening bracket A closing bracket dollar. Here reduce A produce A. This A replace with variable. Means step 5 dollar to opening bracket A closing bracket. Again shift into the stack A closing bracket. Here this production, our production is A dash produce A and A produce opening bracket A closing bracket or A. Means this production reduce with A. Reduce A produce opening bracket A closing bracket dollar opening bracket, then this is A closing bracket dollar. Again this is shift. Dollar opening bracket A closing bracket, this is empty. Again reduce A produce opening bracket A closing bracket. This production reduce with A. Again reduce A dash with A. Yes, produce A dash, and this is empty. And if this is starting symbol in stack, this is starting symbol, input string is empty, means this is accepted. Dear students, in your final exam they will ask similar to this. Like and subscribe the channel. This 3-4 examples are enough on this NFA, DFA or SLR or parsing table. In your exam you will get similar to this or maybe same examples.